Hi Internet, it's me, Pan42 Tarot. Welcome to this week's reading. I have a lot of smoke going on, sorry. I really was feeling incense today, so, yay. Anyway, welcome to this week's reading. This one is a bit of a unique one. Instead of asking a specific question or anything, this week we're going to be contemplating some big questions. I've been ravenously going through old episodes of this podcast called The Tarot Diagnosis. I'll link it below because they're awesome, and I'll link specifically the episode that I'm pulling from to do this reading because they definitely deserve the credit for coming up with the idea. Anyway, they were talking about existential humanism, which is this really interesting thing that a therapist / psychologist, I think, anyway, he was a man named Victor Frankl came up with. Well, he expounded upon it. Anyway, Victor Frankl was actually a survivor of the Holocaust, and his work is really fascinating because he talks a lot about finding meaning in suffering. So, we are going to be contemplating on the 6 pillars of what he believes existential humanism is. So, it's gonna be interesting because we're more asking your guides and we're asking spirit to bring to our attention things they want us to work on in these areas of life and existence. They're really big concepts, so we might have to pull a little bit more cards than normal, but I like big spreads, so it's fine. Anyway, so, yeah, I'm only going to do 3 groups today unless the cards pop out. Anyway, I'm going to be pulling from this Mysterium deck for our indicators because I really like the art in this deck and it's really fun. So, and I'm gonna, as I leave the cards out for you to look at, I'm gonna tell you what the 6 pillars are that we're gonna be talking about. So, one more. All right, and I think I'm gonna be shuffling the cards for these spreads off camera, just so you guys know. All right, so spirit guides and spirit for my collective, we're going to be talking about existential humanism today. So if you could give me some images to focus on to draw the people to each individual reading, that would be great. Pretty please. Oh, that one for sure. One more. Yeah, I just listened to the Tarot Diagnosis on Spotify. I'm pretty sure you can find them other places, but they're 2 therapists who discuss the tarot and big concepts and things with tarot. Wow, okay, I did get 4 cards. So, I actually ended up with 4 cards, so just kidding. This is going to be a super long video today because we have 4 groups. Oh well. Anyway, so I'm going to show you each of the cards. So here we go. This is your first card, group 1. It is a rat playing chess. Cool. So that's group number 1. Group number 2, you have this image, which is a giant pile of gold with something on top it kind of looks like a house made of crystal? Or maybe it's a book made of crystal. Not really sure. It's kind of hard to see. But that's group number 2. Group number 3, you have this image here, which is a raven or a crow, not really sure, on top of a sign for what looks like a scriber, or like somebody who writes stuff down for you, maybe an accountant or something. Back in the day, not everybody could read and write, so they had whole shops dedicated to, oh, we will write a letter to this person you need to talk to that you can't write a letter to because you don't know how to write. So, that one. And lastly, group number 4, we have this beautiful image. Focus. There you go. There's a wolf in the back. It is a forest covered in moss. There's a little sword down here in the corner. It's a really pretty image. A beautiful forest on a sunny day. So, those are the 4 groups. There we go. I'm going to leave them out for a second while I tell you the 6 questions / pillars of humanity that we're going to be talking about. So, according to Victor Frankl, these are the 6 pillars of humanity and what makes us unique as opposed to all of the other creatures all over the world and things. So, they are the capacity for self-awareness, the tension between freedom and responsibilities, striving for identity and relationships with others, a search for meaning and purpose, anxiety as a condition of life, and lastly, awareness of death and non-being. So these are some really big concepts, you guys. I just felt like the tarot diagnosis talked about making a spread for this, and I was like, I could make a spread for this. So that's what I did. And I felt like these concepts needed to be thought about and spoken about, so we're gonna talk about them today. And we're just basically gonna ask your guides what they would like to bring to your attention in these 6 areas of you existing on the planet. And hopefully you'll get some really good insights from them. So these are the 4 groups. I was gonna do 3, but universe had other plans. So, here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Okay, guys. I'll see you over there. Bye. Hi, group number 1s. Welcome to your reading today about existential humanism. I'm using 2 different decks. The green one here in the middle is the Cosmovision's Oracle Tarot deck. And this one underneath is the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck. Cool? Cool. So, this is the card that brought you in today. It's a big old rat playing some chess. It looks like he's sitting in the king's position, which is interesting. So, with the concept of existential humanism being our focus for today, the rat being in the king's position, it gives me this feeling of maybe you've let somebody or something take over your life a little bit in a way that they have kind of taken the focus away from you in your own life. At least that's kind of what I'm getting from this card. He's taken over the board and he doesn't belong there. So maybe you've let some other influences in your life take over things that you should have agency over. So that's just the general vibe I'm getting from this particular card. So we're gonna start your reading. So the first, these are like pillars. See, they make like a pillar. Anyway, I liked it. Anyway, so these are the pillars of humanity. So I'm just gonna tell you what they are again real quick, because there's some big topics. I'll tell you again after I reveal each one. But the capacity for self-awareness, the tension between freedom and responsibilities, striving for identity and relationships with others, search for meaning and purpose, anxiety as a condition of life, and awareness of death and non-being. Cool? All right, so we're going to start here with the capacity for self-awareness. And the cards that you got here are the Seven of Trees and the Six of Pentacles. So you got a 6 and a 7. Cool. All right. So the capacity for self-awareness as the 6 and 7 of Pentacles. That's very interesting, because 6 of Pentacles is about generosity and 7 of Pentacles is about planting seeds and waiting for them to take root, for them to grow into something that will work out for you, will help you along your path. So as the capacity for self-awareness, I think your guides are trying to point to the fact that we are self-aware, not just because, like, not just in our own minds, but we become self-aware through our interactions with other people. Because, like, you know that you're being, right? But like when other people interact with you and you can see the differences between you and other people, and also like you can have the capacity to care for other people, you become self-aware of like your limits and what you're willing to do for other people and yourself. So, with it relating to this card over here, I have a feeling that your guides, the thing they want to bring up for you in the area of self-awareness is to be aware of where you're putting your energy, your time, your resources. Because Pentacles is really about material things here on the 3D plane. And so to be self-aware of what you're giving away to other people, be aware of the seeds you are planting, because each one you plant will blossom into something, and it could be for your benefit or it could be for your detriment. So it's important to be self-aware of what you're putting your energy into, because if you are putting your energy into like things that will harm you, or you're putting your energy into, let's say, anger, or you're spending a lot of time with people who make you angry, like you're going to reap more anger. That's how it works. So I believe your guides are trying to say you're a generous person that gives to other people, but you need to also be aware of what you're giving away and what you need to keep for yourself, as well as what seeds you're planting in your own life. Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing there. I'm going to do, my battery's about to die, but I think I can get through one more pile before I have to switch batteries. So we're going to do this one and see if I make it through. All right. So this pile is the tension between freedom and responsibilities. And in this little pile you have, come on. There you go. This little pile you have the Ace of Birds, which is the Ace of Swords. And you have the King of Cups. Ooh, So interesting. Okay, you guys, so this one is a pretty straightforward, clear message that your guides are trying to bring up for you. So the Ace of Swords is ideas, thinking, new ideas, new thinking, new thoughts. The King of Cups is the king of emotions. He's the one in control of his emotions. He's the king of the intimate life, the inner life of the heart, right? So the tension between freedom and responsibilities. You have this tension between your thoughts and your emotions. Part of you is very on board with this whole idea of we need to like do good things for ourselves. Part of you is the critical thinking part of you is very aware of this thing your guides are trying to bring up for you. They're very aware. But there's this other part of you that is your deep emotions, because the King of Cups, he's not shallow. He's got really big emotions. He is in control of them though. But this is a conflict between your logical mind and your emotional body. And when those two things are in conflict, it can be really, really hard for us to make any decisions for ourselves, because we're like, but I feel this way, but my logic brain is telling me that I need to do this other thing instead. So there needs to be a compromise here of some kind within yourself so that you can plant good seeds for yourself, so that you can be self-aware where your emotions are maybe leading you astray, or maybe where they are helping you. Like some emotion, like even panic is an emotion that tells you something about the situation you're in. It tells you you're not safe in this situation. Now, sometimes we panic for apparently no reason, but it could be telling you this is a past thing that we need to work on because it's triggering us now in the present. So there needs to be a marriage of your logical mind and your emotional body. And that could come through meditation. It could come through therapy work with a therapist. It could come through even a yoga practice is very good at this. I believe your guides are saying they want you to be in charge of your emotions, but also recognize your emotions and give them space to exist. Because without our emotions, we aren't fully being ourselves, right? So the tension between responsibilities and freedom, your emotions are freedom. That's just what they are. You're free to be whoever. And responsibility, that's the swords. That's the thought. That's the preparation. That's all the things that aren't spontaneous. Emotions are spontaneous. Thoughts are more decided and sword-like. So, yes. They want to bring to your attention that you have two very conflicting parts of yourself that you need to bring into harmony together, to work together, to make your reality better. Okay, I'm gonna go change my battery real quick and I'll be right back. Or maybe I won't be right back. We'll see. Hi, group number 1. Welcome back to your reading. It's been like 1 second for you and like 4 days for me. So, welcome back. We are talking about existential humanism, what it is to be a human, and all that stuff. So, the last thing we talked about was the conflicts between your emotions and your logical thought brain. And next we're moving on to pile number 3, which is striving for identity and relationships with others. So these cards are going to talk about how just something that your guides would like to bring to your attention on those two subjects. Like your identity and relationships with others. So we have the card Nine of Birds. We also have the card the Hierophant. Ooh. Cool. So, more birds. Cool. So the Nine of Birds is the Nine of Swords. Now, the Nine of Swords talks about anxiety a lot of the time. It's normally somebody who is sitting up in bed, obviously a little bit perturbed about something with a bunch of swords behind them. But this is a Nine of Birds. So this image is a lot, it is very anxiety inducing because this person is like hunting these birds, but also these birds are attacking her. And it looks like her foot is about to go off this cliff right here. And so that's very anxiety inducing. So I am seeing still that message there. It could also be talking about swirling thoughts and anxiety within your own head, your own thoughts. And then the Hierophant is about wisdom and practiced religious belief. It's kind of like the Hermit card, but it's more rule-oriented. It's more about connecting with a set of rules or a set of beliefs and being a guide in those beliefs. So, in the relation to a search for, this is striving for identity and relationships with others. So I'm seeing that your guides are saying that there's a bit of anxiety in your relationships with others. And perhaps you are reaching and striving for a new kind of identity or set of rules to live by. Maybe how you used to do things really really cut you off from some people, and you're feeling very isolated and either at the top of a mountain isolated where you're too controlled, so you don't let anybody in, or you're not controlled enough and you have too many people all at your face trying to get in. It could be both. But what I'm seeing is that your guides want to bring to your attention that even though you have all these anxieties about like who you are and who you should be letting into your life and what path you should be following is what I'm hearing. You're in this place of the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is wisdom and knowledge and like book knowledge, like not street smarts. He's like book smarts. And I think maybe this anxiety that you're having is because you have really delved into something and now you're not quite sure how to apply it to life in general, like outside of the rules and regulations of this small little spot you've put yourself in. And I think your guides are saying, like, it's time to put aside some of these anxieties. It's time to trust the wisdom that you have acquired in this quest for identity. Like, you have gained some kind of knowledge, and this knowledge can help you overcome these anxieties with people. Yeah, I think they're saying trust yourself a little bit more. Because despite this card being very anxiety-inducing for the people looking at the card, like, this warrior here is not anxious. Like, she is firmly like her feet are flat on the ground, and she is confidently aiming her bow. Like, you might be juggling a lot of things, and you might be, people might think you're about to go, but you're not. Like, and your anxiety is telling you that, like, you're not strong enough to do this. But guess what? You definitely are. And, like, you have the knowledge, and you have a firm sense of identity. Like, nobody would go out on a cliff surrounded by a bunch of birds and not just, like, she could just leave. Like, there's nothing holding her back from just leaving. You could see her footprints in the snow. Like, she got herself here. She could just leave. So, there's nothing stopping you, despite the intimidating thoughts that are represented by these birds. There's not actually anything physically stopping you. So you just need to have a little bit of confidence in yourself and the thing that you have gained knowledge in to take a step forward or back, to continue on your path and start to open up a little bit. Because another aspect of the Hierophant is that he's a teacher, he's a prophet, a teacher, that kind of like energy. So you're not meant to just study the books like the hermit. Like the hermit's just, he's by himself. He's meant to study the books. The Hierophant is meant to have the knowledge, but then also spread the knowledge. So yeah, it's time to like show off a little, show what you've learned, like give your knowledge away a little bit. Yeah, at least that's what I'm hearing from your guides. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, this is the search for meaning and purpose. And we're gonna just see what cards your guides have for you here. So we have the 2 of Trees. We also have the King of Wands. Ooh. Cool. So, the search for meaning and purpose. What do your guides want to draw to your attention? So the 2 of Trees is the 2 of Pentacles, and the 2 of Pentacles is a balancing act between two, normally it's 2 pentacles, like he's juggling 2 things. And the King of Wands is the king of passion, the king of fire, the king of just adventure. Like he's the king that would like be like, we're gonna go explore new lands. Like that's the kind of king he is. Like he's JFK being like, we're gonna go to the moon. Like he's that kind of king energy. So search for meaning and purpose. It seems like you guys have been juggling 2 ideas in your head about what meaning and purpose you have for your life. And so in this image, the 2 little trees are right here. It's really hard to see, but they're really tiny, and there's one person who's coming out into the desert with a jug on their head, supposedly to water these 2 tiny trees in the middle of a desert. So, with this imagery of this card here, I'm really seeing like there's the beginnings of an idea for you. There's the beginnings, you have like the beginnings of an idea, of something you planted just starting to get some root, just starting to bud a little bit in your psyche, just starting to give you some passion this new idea of purpose, of meaning in your life, it may feel a little fragile right now. I mean, these are two baby trees in the middle of the desert, but there's somebody tending to them. Like, maybe it's you that's tending to this idea and watering it and making it grow. Or maybe it's your guides being like, who keep putting things in your path to make these two little trees bud. This little idea that you have. They keep putting little things in your way that like bring this meaning, this purpose back. And it's definitely in an area of your life that you feel passionate about. And it's something you're good at too, because kings are masters of whatever energy that they are. And so, oh, bless you, Megas. Sorry, my cat just sneezed. It was really cute. So this energy of there's something new. There's two new things that are just starting to come to light for you. And I think your guides are trying to say, like, you have all of this kingly energy of being able to go after what you want and being very ambitious and, like, being able. So this energy of, like, new things coming into your life to give you more meaning and purpose, I think your guides are trying to bring your attention to these new things so that you are aware that these new and budding ideas that you have are a good thing, that they're something you should keep an eye on, because you have the power and ambition and understanding to make these things a real sturdy, stable pillar in your life, but you have to nurture them. You have to put your passion into them. And there's going to be help. Like, this person with the jug coming to water these two trees is very, like, it gives me a very, like, spirit guide just gently nudging you in the right direction every now and then. And, like, you've got the rest. Like, you are the two trees that are growing. Like, you are growing. You got that part. But you're getting a little help, a little nourishment from these guides, from the universe, to continue to move forward into your new meaning and purpose. Also, the man who, like, made this whole idea of existential humanism, he's Victor Frankl. His whole thing was, like, finding meaning in suffering, because he was a Holocaust survivor. He really found that the prisoners of the concentration camps who found meaning, who found a purpose to living every day, like, who didn't just despair, who chose to have purpose, whether that was to, like, enjoy the dinner of a piece of bread that night, or it was, I need to stay alive to help my bunkmate stay alive. Like, those people survived the concentration camps, and the ones who saw no hope, who despaired, who did not give themselves any purpose for living each day, they were the ones that he inevitably saw die in the camps. So this purpose that is budding into your life is something that you need to nurture, because it's something that's going to give you the drive, it's going to give you somewhere to put all of this ambition and growth and, like, knowledge that you have. It's going to give you purpose. Like, and that's, like, the whole point. So, yeah, that's what I'm seeing there for you guys. So, the next little pile here is about this pillar of humanity is anxiety as a condition of life. Now, this is a is a fun, weird little topic, because obviously a lot of us have anxiety these days. There's a lot going on. But this is a thing that I just recently kind of learned about. And like that, yes, anxiety, the condition, is a real thing that really does cripple a lot of people. I definitely have quite a bit of it. But it's also just a condition of being human. Like, everybody gets anxiety from now and then, and like whether it gets bad enough to require assistance is when it gets to the medical side of anxiety. But if it doesn't require like medical assistance, then it is just being human. Everybody gets anxious. And if you don't, you're probably lying to yourself a little bit. Like, everybody's a little worried about something, even if it's just like the bills or fucking what am I going to eat for dinner? Like, so these two cards are what your guides would like to bring to your attention about anxiety as a condition of the human existence. And we have the Peacock, which in this deck is the Empress card. And we also have the Three of Wands. Oh, I love this. Okay, so the Three of Wands is all about preparation and planning, and like looking out over the landscape, planning your next steps, right? And the Empress is all about obviously self-care and like the energy of the feminine ability to receive, the feminine ability to take care of yourself and take care of others, that maternity energy. So what I'm really seeing here is they're trying to tell you, look, you're having some anxiety because you're a person, but you can greatly reduce this, one, by putting some work into planning things. Like, don't over plan things. That's when you can really put yourself into a hole. But planning is necessary to continue living. Yeah, it's a part of living on Earth. You have to plan out some things. You can't just like go by the seat of your pants every time. Like, it's tax season, you guys. Like, go do your taxes. And like do them way before they're due, so you don't have to be anxious about them. So a little bit of planning and forethought is a thing your guides would like you to pay attention to like, don't jump into anything super crazy. Just like think about things first before you like just go crazy about them. And then the Peacock is a very interesting card in this deck because it talks about the connection between our physical realm and the divine realm. It's also the Empress card, so it does talk about self-care. So obviously a good practice if you're struggling with some anxiety is to take care of yourself. If we are feeling good about ourselves, we can more easily tackle the big issues that are ahead of us. If I'm eating healthy, then I'm less anxious about if I'm gonna be like sick, you know? Like, just taking care of yourself in all of the ways, whether that's making sure you take your meds, or making sure that you have healthy food in the fridge if you can afford it, or making sure that you get enough sleep, or like don't stay up to watch that last TV show when you really know that you need to get some sleep. Taking care of yourself is an important aspect to reducing anxiety. Like, honestly, my anxiety shoots way up when I'm dehydrated. So drink water. Like, simple things, nothing crazy. Like, don't like, oh, I'm gonna invest in like a bunch of face masks and make sure no, don't worry about that. Just take care of yourself. Like, do the simplest things first. Yeah, and then also this card talks about the connection between our realm and the next realm. So I'm also seeing that, like, give your anxieties to your guides sometimes. Like, the whole point of like prayer is so that we can externalize the things that are inside of our heads and our hearts to something greater than ourselves, so that we can get those burdens off of us and onto somebody else for a little while. Like, that's why therapy is helpful as well. Like, it's about sharing our troubles with something outside of ourselves so that we don't have to have it all internally all the time. Like, we don't have to hold this burden because somebody else is going to hold it for us for a little while. And I think your guys are saying, like, look, like, there are some things that you're worried about that you can just give to us. Like, if you're just worried about, like, how is that interview going to go? Like, do a little bit of planning, like, know that you're really smart, and like, here's some things that I know that the person interviewing me would also probably like to know. But like, don't plan out the whole conversation. Like, give that part of it to your guides. Be like, please just let me sound smart and do a good job, and like, and they will definitely be there for you. All you have to do is ask, like, really. So maintain a connection between you and your guides, or you and the universe, something that lets you offload some of these small anxieties that are just sitting in your brain, so that you can, you know, move on a little bit and just do the thing instead of like ruminating on the thing. You know what I mean? Okay, so this last little pile here, this is a big topic. This is our awareness of death and non-being. So this is what your guides want to draw to your attention on this. Now, these are like the conditions of being a human, and like, the fact that we're aware that we die at some point is a huge part of being a human. It's like a thing that we need to know and we need to think about, because we have to like plan about it. But then we also have to forget that part, because if we don't like forget about it a lot all the time, we wouldn't like go out and do stupid things that we should also be doing. So, all right, these are the two cards you have. You have the Swan. Ooh, beautiful. The Swan in this deck is the High Priestess card. And then we also have the Ace of Wands. Oh, that's awesome, you guys. I love this for you. Yeah, so this is almost exactly what I just said, of like, we have to be internally aware that we are going to die someday, like, that things end. That's a part of us existing as people. But at the same time, we have to put that aside to be able to blossom and grow and let our passions thrive and become more than what they are right now. And so the two cards you got, like the Ace of Wands, this is all about new passion, new discovery, new excitement. So what they're saying is like, yes, you are aware that like the end of you, the end of the world, whatever, it's out there, it's gonna happen. But the way to combat that, or the way to make that ending worth it, is to pursue all of these passions, to pursue the joy, to pursue the passion, to pursue these new ideas of purpose that you have been getting. Like, pursue them. Don't let them grow. Grasp them firmly in your hand, because this is what life is for. this is what what makes life worth living, is to enjoy and pursue these things. And the high priestess is all about hidden ideas, hidden parts of our psyche, hidden emotions, things looking one way above the surface and another beneath the surface. She's very connected to the spirit realm. So there's this idea of the end, our non-being, the next world. It's hidden from us. It's something that we are supposed to be unaware of. And yet we have such a calling to be connected to this other world, the way that the Peacock card talks about. Like, there's another dimension that we are connected with, that we are spiritually inclined to want to pursue. So I believe this card is saying, like, follow your passions in this physical world. Do that. It's going to make the ending worth it. And also, don't forget to connect with that other spiritual realm, because these things will last beyond you, beyond the end of your little life, beyond the world even. This ability to connect with spirit is one worth pursuing in this life as well, because it will last longer than our physical beings can. Oh, that's so sweet, you guys. So they're like, yeah, do your thing, man. The end is coming, but who cares? Not who cares, but like, the end is coming, but the end is what makes us want to live, makes us want to continue to follow passions, continue to jump in, continue to rush forward, rush ahead, because we don't know when the end is. So, yeah, they want to bring to your attention, passion is what makes life life, and what makes death something we're afraid of. But death isn't the end of passion. It just changes form. That's so sweet, you guys. Okay, so those are all of your cards. I hope this little contemplation was helpful. It's a new idea that I was doing that was like, we're not going to ask a question, we're just going to contemplate, ask our guides to bring to our attention some things that we should contemplate about ourselves and the universe. So, I'm now just going to draw one or two of these oracle cards from the Kun Yin deck. Sorry. So, I'm just going to draw one or two cards from this Kun Yin deck because they have lovely messages, and I think they will be good ones for this slightly heavy topic of the pillars of humanity. So let's see what your guides have to say. Guides of pile number 1, could you give us one last parting message about these pillars of humanity? Oh, that one, okay. Do you want any more? Nope, just that one. Okay. So, we got, this card is called the Shining Lotus. I'm going to show you the image. She's beautiful. The Shining Lotus. And now I'm going to read you the card, okay? So, it says, there are times when it makes sense to be discreet until you find your inner strength, so that you feel empowered enough to share your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs without wavering, even in the face of challenge. At other times, we are ready to take a risk and allow the inner lotus blossom of our true self to shine forth for all to behold. Oh, that's so sweet, you guys. I love that for you, especially with all of this message of letting new purpose blossom and letting yourself out of the closet a little bit, and reining in your emotions and thoughts to work together to show your inner self. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope this reading was helpful. If you liked this kind of idea of like contemplating thoughts about the universe instead of like doing a specific question, just comment down in the comments that you liked it so that I can do more of these kinds of videos. And if you didn't like it, maybe also comment so that I know not to do these videos. So, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. It's been great doing this reading for you. I hope you have a blessed everything. This was Pan. Bye, guys. Hi, group number 2s. Welcome to your reading about Existential Humanism. Yay! So, this is the card that drew you guys in. It's basically a dragon's sword. It's a really pretty one, which is kind of cool because I think this is a crown, but I'm not sure. Anyway, it's kind of funny. I just finished watching, I just finished watching the new season of Vox Machina, which is an animated cartoon that's based on Critical Role's first D&D campaign. It's very fun. I would definitely suggest you watch it. It is for adults. It is not for kids. Do not be fooled by the adorable cartoonness. But yeah, there was a bunch of gold in the last episode and it was fun. So, yay! Anyway, so the questions that we are contemplating this week, we are basically like looking at Victor Frankl's idea of existential humanism, and we are asking our guides to give us some information that they feel like we should know on the 6 pillars of existential humanism. So we have a bunch of pillars right here, and I'm going to read you the pillars, and then I'll, like, as I flip them over, read them to you again so that you know. These are like just the main things that like make us humans. Like, yeah, that's the idea, is that they are the tenets that make us human. So they are oh, you know what? I'll also tell you what cards I'm using because that's a thing. So I'm using this is the Cosmovisions Oracle Tarot deck. The Cosmovisions Oracle deck. It's a tarot deck because it still has all of the suits and everything, but it's an oracle deck because like all of the meanings of the major arcanas are slightly different, which is why I took a tiny peek at your cards just to be sure that I knew which major arcanas you guys had so that I wouldn't have to like stop the video and read up on what you guys had. So and then I didn't peek at these other cards underneath though, which are your Ethereal Visions Tarot deck. The Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck are what those are. So those are the 2 decks I'm using. I'm also going to pull a Kunyin Oracle at the end, just as a last parting message from your guides about what you need to know going forward. So now I'm going to read you the tenets, the 6 tenets, or the 6 pillars. Ready? Okay. Pillar number 1 is the capacity for self-awareness. 2, the tension between freedom and responsibilities. 3, striving for identity and relationships with others. 4, search for meaning and purpose. 5, anxiety as a condition of life. And 6, the awareness of death and non-being. These are some very big, very deep topics we're going into, all right, guys? So don't be scared. We got our guides with us. We can do this, all right? So we're first going to look at these cards, which are the capacity for self-awareness. This is what your guides would like you to focus on in this area. So we have the 9 of Lotuses, which is the 9 of Cups. There's this big cute wave. These cards are really cool because if you put the whole suit together, like line them all up next to each other, it makes one really big picture. So the one before this is an underwater scene, and the one after this is like the lotus is all happy in a pond. So yeah, it's really pretty. Anyway, and you also have the Four of Cups. Ooh. Cool. So this is a very positive idea. Okay, so, and it's both cups. That's cool. So, the capacity for self-awareness. So in the area of self-awareness, what we have is the Four of Cups, which is about meditation and also a new opportunity being offered to you. In some decks, you'll see that the man is not looking at the cup that is being offered. In fact, the cup is normally behind him and he's not looking at it at all. In this one, he seems to be meditating on the cups in general, and the cup looks like it's ahead of him as opposed to like behind him where he can't see it. So I think this is a card that's really talking about your ability to be self-aware is something that you are working on. It's something that your guides have put out in front of you as a, hey, have you thought about being a little more self-aware? This could be because either maybe you're a little bit thoughtless in your actions with others. That's not particularly the vibe I'm getting, but like it could be a message for a couple of people that are watching this. But it could also be just your ability to see your own worth, to see your own value, because the Nine of Cups is about having a lot of value. It's about sitting in the energy of, I am the bomb and I am amazing. Like, I am surrounded by all that I could ever want or need, and that's amazing. Like, that is the energy of Nine of Cups, or the Nine of Lotuses here. So I'm really feeling like the self-awareness that your guides want to bring to your attention is that you have more than you think. The Four of Cups often refers to this idea that there's something else you're not seeing, there's something else you're not aware of. So you need to consider that this other offer that is being shown to you is actually a real thing and not just like something that you should brush aside. So what I'm seeing in this like combination here is that your guides want you to be more self-aware of the fact that you possess more ability and agency than you are currently putting to use. Like, you have all of these cups, you have all these abilities, these assets. You have power and you're sitting on it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not moving forward with it in mind. It's almost like a victim mentality idea of like, oh, I don't have anything, so I'm not going to do anything. But they want you to be aware that you do have things. You have lots of things. Like, Nine of Cups is not an excess of anything, but enough that you will never need for anything. So, and since it's both cups, it's a lot of emotion here. And I feel like they want you to be more self-aware of how you are emotionally connecting to the world around you. Because if you're like, so let's say that you are finding yourself feeling really negative about, I don't know, a job or a person or just like you're living like house or something. Like, you're feeling really negative about your house. Let's go with that one. You're feeling really negative about your house. Well, if every time you step into a room, you go, oh, I hate that part of this room. Well, of course you feel negative towards your house because you're in that mindset. You're reacting to your space in a negative way, so your space feels negative to you. You know what I mean? So if you, like, so a while ago I had a big breakup and my house felt really sad to me because it's like it was set up how me and this other person lived in it together. But I decided to rearrange the space so that it wouldn't always remind me every second of the day of something I had lost. Instead, it was my own version of this house so that I could feel confident in living in this space again, because now it's my space and it's not our space. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope so. So instead of interacting with your environment with the negative forethought, like with that as the forefront of your mind, be self-aware, and in between the moment of reacting, of seeing something and then reacting, there's a brief pause in between those two moments, and you can choose how to react to the space. So instead of choosing to react negatively to the space, instead choose to react like, oh, but I really like the color of that light bulb today. You know what I mean? And as you get into that practice, you will find that you actually do have a lot more than you thought you did. The space is really yours. You know what I mean? And here's a fun thing, because we're on houses for some reason. Like somebody told me, the more you talk to your house, the more you talk to your space, the more positively your space will take care of you. And I actually started doing that practice with my own house. And let me tell you, Christmas Eve in my house was one of the most beautiful things I had experienced, because my house literally gave me a hug that night, and it was the most wonderful thing I'd ever experienced, and I loved it so much. So yeah, things take on your energy, because you are this powerful being with all of this potential. Things can take on your energy, so be aware of what you're reacting with. Cool? That was a lot for just card number 1. So we're going to move on to pile number 2. This pile is about the tension between freedom and responsibilities. Ooh, this is a very interesting. I like this topic. All right, so you have the Veil, which in this deck is the Star card. The meaning is slightly different, but not really super different. And then we also have Temperance. Oh, I love this Temperance card, and I never pull her. Ooh, she's so pretty. Okay, so, ooh, that's such a beautiful message, you guys. I mean, how cliche, but also so right for us to pull the Temperance card when we're talking about balance / tension. So, yes. So what's the answer to the issue of the tension between freedom and responsibilities? Well, it's temperance. That's a little obvious, but yeah, there has to be a balance in your life between the freedom to go do whatever the fuck you want, and also be but I gotta pay bills at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Or let's say you're trying to switch jobs or something like that. There has to be a temperate energy of, I'm not gonna cut every bridge I have with the old job. So that as I transition, I have a good transition into this new job, and I'm not just fired and don't get that in between jobs insurance or whatever it is. So there's a real, your guides are hey, just chill. Make sure you balance this newfound freedom of whatever it is you're pursuing, and also your responsibilities. Like say it's a relationship, right? Like, oh, this new relationship gives me so much freedom to explore my sexuality, let's say. But you also have the responsibility to take care of your cats, let's say. Like, yes, definitely go explore with this person as much as possible, but make sure you are home enough to take care of your cats as well. Like, there's a balance. As one author, I don't remember who the author was. Oh, maybe I can find it. Sartre, the philosopher Sartre, said, man is condemned to be free, which means like it's this constant struggle of like, I can do whatever I want, but as soon as I do something, like I'm responsible for all the things that happen because of that thing I chose to do. So, like, be aware, actions have consequences, think through your, think through all of the joy of being freed, but also balanced with your responsibilities. Also, the other card that you got with this is the Veil, which is the Star card. And in this deck, it talks all about hope and light, and that sometimes hope is invisible. Sometimes hope is not super obvious to us, but it is still there, and it shines when it's needed most. So if this thing that you're balancing between freedom and responsibilities, if this juggling act between those two things is really weighing you down, know that there is hope, that you have this power, you can do this. It's going to be a path, but the universe is going to shower you with hope, just like this veil. Like, it's a veil of light coating this person in light and hope. There is hope. You will be able to do it, and eventually the juggle, the balance, the flow will come naturally to you. It might be a bit of a struggle right now, but as you move towards what you were meant to move towards, it will become easier, and you will be able to have this temperance without it feeling like such a responsibility. Aw, that's sweet. Okay, so the next cards we have, these are about striving for identity and relationships with others. So this is what your guides want you to know about these two things. We have the Seven of Trees, and we also have the Page of Wands. Ooh, I love this, you guys. Okay, so this is really cute. So the Page of Wands is a very joyful, Fool-like energy of, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to go forward, I'm going to put my whole self out there with exuberance and excitement and just go for it, full throttle. The Page of Wands is very childlike in the way that they approach the world, in the way they approach people, in the way that they even like approach themselves. They don't take themselves too seriously, and they just want to have fun. They just have fun, you guys. So in the space of finding identity and relationships that really mean something to you, like to get friends, you have to be a friend. You know what I mean? So if the kind of person you're looking for is somebody who brings joy to your life and somebody who fills you with that childlike wonder of the world, like, you also have to emulate that. You have to put that out into the world so that you can attract it back to yourself. See? So, and then the other card we have here is the Seven of Trees, which talks about planting and being patient and nurturing crops to grow into a harvest. So, friendships and relationships and also discovering your own identity. These things take time. They take patience, and they take a lot of trial and error. Like, you're not always going to find something you really like and then be really good at it first try. Like, I do this all the time. If I'm not good at it first try, I sort of give up on it. Like, which, you know, it's not great. You got, like, that's not a good trait. But like, having good relationships, finding the steady identity that you are, this takes time, patience, and planting a lot of seeds until you find the right thing for you. So put all of the exuberance and joy you can into this process, but also be patient with yourself and with others. Not everybody can open up to you to Page of Wands level immediately. Like, some people take a lot more time and patience to open up. And it's the same with yourself. Some people are late bloomers. Some of us, it takes a while for us to really discover who we are and what we want in this world. But if we approach it from this point of view of, it's a wonderful experience to find yourself, like, if you approach it that way, like, with joy and excitement to discover who you are, like, you're going to have an amazing time on that journey, as opposed to, like, not wanting to discover who you are because you're afraid of what you'll find. Like, that will be a much harder journey than if you are excited to discover exactly who you are and who you're meant to discover in this world. You'll have a much better time being patient with yourself if you're excited to take the time to discover who you are. Aw, that's such a sweet message. Anyway, so this next pile number 4, this is about the search for meaning and purpose. What do we have here from your guides? We have the Life on Earth card, which in this deck is the world, which is really cute. I actually started tearing up when I read this card originally because it's beautiful, and I will explain why. And the other card we got is Justice. Wow, you guys have a lot of major arcanas. Like, we have 4 here, 2 here, 2 here. Wow, 4 so far. That's really cool, you guys. All right. So, cool, awesome. I really love this message for you guys. So, on the idea of the search for meaning and purpose, this is so great. So, the idea of searching for meaning and purpose, this is a thing that humans do that, like, not any other animal does. This is, like, what humans are here to do, find meaning and purpose. And we do it in everything. Like, we find meaning in going to the grocery store. Like, we find meaning in stupid stuff all the time because that's kind of what we're supposed to do. So you got the Justice card and Life on Earth. Guys, the Life on Earth card is all about finding the just life here on this planet right now in this time to be purpose enough in and of itself. The fact that you are alive today is a miracle. The fact that you are alive now in this time with the people you are with is a miracle. It is a beautiful message of you are enough, and just you existing has so much meaning and purpose. And you don't have to pursue grand things to be worth every minute of your life. Every minute. Because you just living on this planet is enough. sorry. I really love this message here, you guys. Yeah, you're enough, and you living here on this planet right now. That's all. That's all you need to do. You're doing a great job. Keep going. And then the other message here is the Justice card, which is all about balancing the scales. It's also about what is supposed to happen is going to happen. So I really think it's a message of the meaning and purpose you are searching for is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You don't have to worry about it. Everything will fall into place one day, and you don't necessarily have to know when or how it's gonna happen, because it's going to. Justice is about things happening in their own time, and also bringing balance to the world, to your world. If you feel really off balance right now, be aware and know that there is hope, that that your guides and the universe is going to bring your life into balance for you at some point. You might have to put a little bit of effort into. I'm not saying it's just gonna magically all be better, but as far as meaning and purpose goes, yours for right now might just be being here, being alive, and that might be it. But you affect so many people just by existing, just by being here, that's all you need. That's all you need to do. Everything will come as it's supposed to come, as it's supposed to happen. So if you're looking for some great meaning or purpose, let being alive right now just be enough, and the rest that you're longing for will come in due time when you are ready for it. Okay? Okay. This next pile we're going to talk about is anxiety as a condition of life. So, as people in the modern world, we have a lot of anxieties. That's just kind of part of what living is today. Okay? So, here we go. We have infinite paths. Ooh, this card is so cool. Infinite paths. This card is the Sun card in this deck. Bless you, Magus. Bless you. Infinite paths. This is the Sun card in this deck. And we also have the Two of Swords. Ooh. Two of Swords. Interesting. Okay, so that really does kind of sum up some anxiety. Okay, so Two of Swords is about having a decision to make and being very stuck about which side to go on, what decision to make. As you can see, she's blindfolded and she's sitting down, and she's kind of just holding these two swords crossed in front of her, just like, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna sit here. Behind her, there's the moon, which talks about hidden feelings and hidden ideas. But also behind her, we have a big lake, which water is all about emotions and, and shifting ideas and that kind of thing. So anxiety is a condition of being a person. It seems like the anxiety in your life at the moment might have to do with a big decision of some kind that you're really not sure what to do about. The other card, which is another major arcana, so we have 5 major arcana so far. The other card here is the Sun card. And in this deck, it really talks about how joy isn't just that bubbly feeling of I'm happy. Instead, it is also being able to see beauty in the path ahead of you. It's that feeling of like, maybe I haven't wanted to think about the future for a while because I've had a hard time of it recently. But this card is about being able to look ahead and not only see one bright shining path for yourself, but to see many. So this anxiety that you have about this decision, I think your guides are trying to tell you that it really doesn't matter how you make this decision or what you decide. All of the paths. What I was saying before my battery died was that the path before, any of the paths before you in this decision could be this bright shining future. It's not the decision that's as important as your anxiety around the decision that could cloud your vision of what each possible future could bring. So I think what they're trying to tell you is look at this from a place of joy instead of looking at it from a place of anxiety of like, oh, what ways could this decision go wrong this way, or what ways could it go wrong that way? Instead of looking at this decision in that frame of mind, instead look at it as, in what ways could this go right? In what ways could this work out? Ooh, sorry, that's my battery. In what ways could this go right? Like, what's the best possible outcome? Instead of thinking of what's the worst possible outcome, try and think of what is the best possible outcome that this choice could make for me. And think of it in both ways. Like, if I went this way, what's the best? If I went this way, what's the best? And then kind of make the decision from the point of view of what you want most, as opposed to the decision guided by what you want least, you know? I think going into decisions in that frame of mind would definitely help you maintain a more positive outlook, but also like help you make decisions that are best for you as opposed to what the rest of the world expects of you or what you think everybody else wants you to do. Instead, you'll be doing it for what you want your future to look like. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so this last little pile we have here, this is the awareness of death and non-being. Now this may feel like a very scary pile, but our awareness of death makes life more worth living. Like, yeah, like without death, we would just sit around and not move forward because we'd have all the time in the world. But death and non-being pushes us forward to create something of our lives. So we have the Spirit Plane card, which is a really cool, pretty card in this deck. It's also the Chariot card, like its mirror card is the Chariot card, but it has a very different meaning than the Chariot in a traditional deck. So the Spirit Plane, and then we also have the Sun card. Holy crap, you guys, you got the Sun card twice in two different decks, but you got it twice. That's really cool. And these are both Major Arcana cards. Wow. So when one of my teachers once told me that, like, if you get like a lot of Major Arcanas, which is like 3 or more in a reading, like there are more forces at work in this person's life than just themselves. So your guides, your gods, whatever you subscribe to, hey, they are working in a major way in your life. Major. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Major Arcana cards. 7 out of 2, 4, 6, 8, oh wait, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Out of 12 cards, we have 7. That's over half. Over half of your cards are Major Arcana, you guys. Okay, sorry, I got excited. Okay, so these 2 cards in death, whoa. let me just say, whoa. Like, whoa. Because the Sun card is about joy and hope, and it's so positive. It is such a positive card, and it's in death. So I think your guides are like, do not fear death. Death is not going to be a scary thing for you. Non-being is nothing for you. This thing that the contemplation of death should not be one of fear, but one of joy, one of, one day I will not be here, but I'm going to move on to something crazy. And you have the spirit plane here, which, the spirit plane is all about life on a totally different dimension, really. It's also about rest and contemplation and meditation on those things, on life beyond this one. So I hear what they're saying is, when you contemplate death, or you contemplate non-being, when you contemplate these things, it should bring you joy, because the union of your spirit with the spirit plane that is next to come will be a joyous day. It will not be tainted with anything but joy. And it should bring you comfort that there are people and spirits and things on the other side that are joyously awaiting to be reunited with you. But they're also saying that this contemplation of non-being is only a thing that you should do now and then. This knowledge that there's a joyous place waiting for you, it should make the hardships of this life feel a little easier, because you're constantly moving forward to that joyous place. But it should also make you think about how to make this life just as joyous as you believe the next one will be. Because the life on this plane, life on earth, is your purpose. It's your purpose to just live here. There are spirits on the other side that just want to know what it's like to be alive. And you're going to bring the joy of knowledge to them. And it's silly, wonderful knowledge of, what is it like to eat an apple? What is it like to hold another person in your arms? What is that like? So, if you're contemplating and thinking about this pillar of life, remember that, yes, there is death, but the other side of the coin is life, and they can both be joyous. That's beautiful. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do for you is I'm going to shuffle these cards, which is the Kunyan Oracle deck. And we're just going to get one final message from your guides about this whole contemplation that we've done today, and see what advice they have for you as one parting gift. Woo! Oh, that's too many, you guys. Calm down. It's funny. Actually, when I was shuffling the rest of your cards, the same thing happened of like 20 million cards popped out of the deck every time I was shuffling it. So your guides are very excitable. They're working in your life in a major way, as we see it with all these major arcana cards. So if you're ever feeling alone and like nobody's there, no, there's somebody there. There are forces at work in your life that maybe you haven't met yet, but they are working hard for you, so don't feel alone. They're gonna bring you this loot of gold. Anyway, one message, thank you. There you go. See, I knew you could do one card. All right, so we have here, this is the Tao. Ooh, it's a really pretty card. All right, I'm going to read the back of it to you. It says, the Tao. The Tao is always flowing, always nourishing life into creation, always presenting steps and solutions, and always reminding us that we are perfect in this moment. You are being guided to relax and allow life to flow. Feel the joy of release and the wonder of how easy life can be when we let go of fear and control. Wow. That's so on point for what the rest of your message was, you guys. Aw, that's so nice. Yeah, live in the moment, live in the now. You are the solution to your own problems. You are the purpose of life just by existing. Thank you for being here, you guys. I love doing this reading for you. If you liked this cool new style of reading where we're just contemplating big topics instead of like answering specific questions, just comment down in the comments that you liked it so that I know, so that I can make more videos like this. Please like, comment, subscribe, push the little thumbsy uppy button if you really liked it. And yeah, maybe share with your friends if you really like these readings. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, pile number twos. I had a great time. I hope you had a great time. And I hope you have a blessed everything. This was Pan. Bye, you guys. Hi, group number threes. Welcome to your reading. This reading is all about existential humanism. We're going to be focusing on the 6 pillars of existential humanism and just seeing what topics, what ideas our spirit guides and the universe want to bring to our attention in these areas of what it is to be human. Cool? Okay, so, oh dear. Actually, my batteries are about to run out on my microphone, so before that happens, I'm gonna go change them real quick. Hello again, group number threes. So, the card that pulled you guys in was this card of a crow or a raven sitting on top of a cool black and white sign, which is about writing. Because back in the day, people needed other people to write for them if they didn't know how to read or write. Cool. So, that's that. This is this. Okay, so the 2 decks that I'm using today are this green one, which is on top. This is the Cosma Visions Oracle deck. It's a tarot deck as well, because it has all of the pip cards, but it doesn't have the same meanings on most of their major arcana, as well as their like pages and kings and stuff. So that's why it's also called an oracle deck, because it's a little different. And then the other deck I'm using is this one, which is the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck. And that one's a very traditional deck. So we have here the 6 pillars of existential humanism. I'm going to read you the questions first, and then we'll go through them one at a time. Okay? So, what we have here is the capacity for self-awareness, the tension between freedom and responsibilities, striving for identity and relationships with others, a search for purpose and meaning, the anxiety as a condition of life, and awareness of death and non-being. So these 6 pillars by Victor Frankl are like what make us human. These are like the conditions of being human. This is what makes us unique and like distinguishes a human from everything else on our planet. Yum. Okay, so the first pile we're going to look at is this one right here. And this is the capacity for self-awareness. And these are cards that are going to just draw our attention to whatever your spirit guides want you to focus on or think about in relation to this topic. Okay? It's not a specific question. We're just like drawing in the energy that they want you to pay attention to. So we have the Five of Birds, which is the Five of Swords. And then we also have the Nine of Pentacles. Ooh. I like the Nine of Pentacles. She's a really pretty card. So, what do we have here as self-awareness? The capacity for self-awareness. So, the Five of Swords talks about conflict. It talks about, conflict. As you can see in this picture, there are two eagles fighting with each other, and at the same time they have ruined the nest a little bit and an egg has fallen out of the nest. So this is like conflict, like the gritty kind of conflict, the like yelling and screaming at each other kind of conflict. This is going to war kind of conflict. There's nothing really pretty about it. It's just fighting. You know what I mean? And then the Nine of Pentacles is, she's often referred to as like the Lady of the Manor. This card talks about harvest and reaping the benefits of hard work and labor and sitting in the abundance of being a lady of a manor type energy. She's kind of a sister card to like the Queen of Pentacles or the Empress. She's like the little sister of those two cards. It's that same abundant energy, but in a more materialistic kind of way. So, what I'm seeing here as the message of self-awareness, I think these two cards together are your guides trying to tell you that you have a lot of power in your position of life, like wherever you are. They're saying like you're the lady of the manor. You have all this power. Maybe you don't see it right now, but it's because of this power that you are able to cause a lot of conflict. Your power over other people, over wealth, over success, your power and privilege, your privilege, that's really what I'm getting here. You have some kind of privilege over others, and this privilege is something they really want you to make you aware of, because perhaps you have been using it to create conflict, or you've been using it to avoid having, okay, so let's say you're the manager of like a store or something, right? And you see two employees fighting, like full on fighting. Because you're the manager, you could say like, hey, you go over and deal with that, or you could yourself go over and deal with that. And you could either make this conflict worse, or you could help resolve it based on how you interact with your power over these other people. So you could listen to these two employees and hear them out, make a good decision as a lady of the manor, make the best decision you can, and use your power for good to mitigate a situation. Or you could use your power to be like, I don't have to deal with that, and you all just stop fighting and move on. Like, that's not really resolving the conflict. That's just bringing your power to bear and making people bend to your will. So you're not really solving the conflict. You're just making them fight outside of work. You know what I mean? So I think the self-aware, the aspect that your guides here want to bring to your attention is that you have power to either create or destroy conflict. And with this power comes great responsibility. I'm sorry, we're going Spider-Man here. With that power, with great power comes great responsibility. They want you to be aware that you have this power so that when the opportunity arises for you to use it in a productive and good manner, you do so instead of creating more chaos and conflict in the world. Victor Frankl, a lot of his stuff is about, he has a theory, which I can't pronounce because I've only ever read it. It's like logoist or something like that. Anyway, it's this concept that an existentialist has the choice to interact with their world with purpose and meaning, as opposed to not. So there's a moment between a thing that happens to you and how you react. And the moment in between those two things is how you choose, is your moment of choice of how you're going to react to something. So as a lady of the manor, you have the power, and lady of the manor doesn't have to refer to gender at all. Like, that's just the energy of like, oh, I'm in charge. I have this power. Like, you could be the lord of the manor. You could be the they of the manor. It's a level of power, not a gender specific idea. You could choose this thing, a thing that happens as the lady of the manor. You can choose to either react in a way that causes conflict or a way that causes that enables good to come of it. So let's say somebody cuts you off in traffic. This is a really simple thing. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. In that moment between them cutting you off in traffic and how you react, you can either choose to react in a generous, positive way of, oh, maybe they're late for work. I'm just gonna let it go. Or you could choose to react negatively and be like, that guy's a fucking asshole. I'm gonna blow my horn at him a bunch of times, or tailgate him now for the next like 3 miles. Like, there's a moment there that you choose how you're going to react to things. And because you are a person of power, your choice there in that moment, that in-between moment, has more gravitas and ability to change things than a lot of people. So the universe wants you to be aware of this so that when those moments of decision come, you are made more conscious of what you decide to choose, and that you even have a choice, like that there is a moment of choice between the thing happening and the reaction, and to find that moment and choose the way that will create good instead of conflict. So that's pile number 1, or that's that's the first tenet of humanity. Our second is the tension between freedom and responsibilities. This is a very interesting topic. So we have the Phoenix, which in this deck is the Hierophant. It's a really pretty card. And then we also have the Four of Cups. Interesting. I just got the Four of Cups in pile number 2. So here we have the Four of Cups and the Phoenix in the area of freedom versus responsibility. This is very interesting because the Four of Cups is about meditation and processing ideas and understanding, as well as the maybe a bit of stubbornness, because a new cup, a new opportunity is being offered, and the man is not necessarily looking at it as intensely as he is these other 3 cups ahead of him. the Phoenix here is about spirituality and oneness in this deck. It's about, like the Phoenix myth, it's about rising from the ashes and becoming more than what you were before. It's about connecting with fire and light and becoming one with power and the universe. And yeah. So, freedom versus responsibility. So, the interesting part about the Phoenix card is that it's also the Hierophant. Like, it's a mirror card to the Hierophant. It's a slightly different meaning in this deck, but the Hierophant is also all about rules and responsibility. So, but being represented by the Phoenix here, I'm seeing that, like, responsibility could really be a freeing energy for you, especially because we have the Nine of Pentacles in your self-awareness bit. And we also have this card that brought you in, which is about, it's really, like, to me, it's really about using a skill to help other people along their journey, because, like, this is obviously a sign for somebody who is writing documents for people who can't, or a writer of some kind. I know it's a little dark and dingy in this card, but, like, sometimes our jobs are just, they feel that way, but they help us move people along. Anyway, I got off track. So responsibility versus freedom. There's something in your life that you are focused on that is a responsibility that you may feel a little bit stuck with. Like, the Four of Cups is very that, being so very, very focused on one particular energy so that you don't see the other thing that is being presented to you. That's also interesting with this Hierophant Phoenix card, because it's a weird marriage of responsibility of the Hierophant being the Pope and all about rules and things, but also it's paired with the absolute freedom of spirituality, of uniting with all souls, of being one with spirituality. And so I think what your guides are trying to show you or tell you is that there's something in your life that you've been focused on in one particular way, that you've been seeing it as only a responsibility, when there is this beautiful opportunity within this responsibility that could free your mind, free yourself, free you in a way that you're not seeing right now. Like, it's an opportunity to view it as more than just a responsibility, as something that is more like a calling. Like the Pope, the Hierophant, they can be seen as this dull, turgid job that they have to uphold the rules of the church, right? But there are popes in the past and currently that, like, have taken that responsibility and been like, oh, but I could really change the perceptions of the world here, and have done things like come out and being like, gay marriage is fine. You know what I mean? So, like, there's this responsibility that if you give yourself the opportunity to look at it from a different perspective, you might find some really freeing aspects of it. Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing there. The third group, this is about striving for identity and relationships with others. And here we have the card of the Elementalist. This is the King of Swords in this deck. It's a really pretty one. I really like she's like a ballerina, but she's like manipulating every element in this picture. It's a really cool card. And then we also have the Page of Pentacles. If you've been watching this channel at all, you know I love the Page of Pentacles, guys. So I'm always happy to see them here. So, here we go. So, as the search this as striving for identity and relationships with others. So this is really cool. This is a really great message, you guys. So the King of Swords in this deck really talks about the oneness of self, the ability to totally understand oneself, which enables you to interact with every element and manipulate them to create good in the universe. Which is such a cool card to have in striving for identity and relationships. This card is talking about really getting to know yourself on such a deep level that it empowers you, that you are so aware of self, of your ability, that you can take anything that is thrown at you and move it to your best good, to take a shitty situation and Lady of the Manor that shit. Like we're gonna make things like not perfectly work out, but I can work with this because I know myself, I know my limits, I know what boundaries I am willing to go down. I am one with myself, which empowers me to interact with others on a more stable footing than I ever have been able to before. So, and the Page of Pentacles is the perpetual student. They are the one that is constantly studying, constantly learning new things, constantly with their head in a book, trying to improve. And the combination of these two cards in identity and learning and grasping for relationships with other people is that it's a constant journey to self. It's a constant growing of yourself and knowing yourself that will enable you to learn and understand other people and be able to meet other people where they're at. Like, she's not directly touching the fire because the direct touch of fire would burn her, but she is manipulating it to swirl with all these other energies. So your own journey to discover yourself will enable you to interact with other people in a way you haven't been able to before. You'll be able to see where somebody else is coming from and be able to direct that energy, if harmful, away from yourself, but in a way that is kind and gentle and helps things as opposed to harming. Again, this energy of I have the choice on how to react. And it's a constant journey and a constant learning energy to stay humble as you become more empowered in yourself. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that one. That's a really great message here in the identity and relationships area. Like, you have this ability to become this King of Swords energy, this in total control and enlightened, empowered being who is humble and is still learning. Oh, okay. So this next one is about the search for meaning and purpose. This is a thing that, like, us humans do for everything. We give meaning and purpose to our morning ritual of eating a donut. Like, all right, we have the Bridge. This card is the Moon card in this deck. And then we also have the Three of Wands. Interesting. So, what I'm seeing here is there needs to be, in your search for meaning and purpose, there needs to be a balance between this energy of thinking and planning and making a future for yourself through thinking and planning and charting out a course, and the energy of the unknown, the energy of I'm going to just follow my gut, the energy of trusting your own intuition along your path. There needs to be a balance of these two energies, because meaning and purpose, you could really get lost down a path of having too much planned out, and you get lost in it has to happen exactly this way or it has no purpose, right? You can very much get stuck in that energy. But you could also get stuck in this energy of I'm just going to wing it and I'm just going to let the universe do everything for me, when the whole point of being a human is to grow and change and grow yourself. Like, the universe is, and your guides are definitely there to support you, but you have to do the work and learn to trust your own intuition and learn the path. So there's this need for balance between I'm gonna fly by the seat of my pants and also I'm going to chart out a course for myself. They want you to keep both of these energies in you as you search for meaning and purpose. Trust your gut, but also do a little bit of planning. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing with those two. It's a real simple message. So I'm just going to move on before I convolute it somehow. So this next pile is a contemplation on anxiety as a condition of the human experience. What does it say? Yeah, anxiety as a condition of life. So we have here the Ace of Birds, and we also have the World card. Ooh, oh, she has boobies. Hold on, I'll have to hide her boobies. I'm not sure if YouTube is doing that to my videos yet, because I don't have enough followers yet, but they will eventually, so. Here, we'll put the little dragon on her boobies. Here, we'll do it. I don't know. There we go. There. That covers all her bits. She's a really pretty card, though. Anyway. So, in this position of anxiety as a condition of life, the Ace of Birds is the Ace of Swords, which is the untapped potential of the mind to create thought, basically. So, we have that energy, and then we also have the World card. The World card is the completion of a cycle, the completion of a story, the end, the perfect cycle. You know, the world spins round and round and round. So what I'm seeing here in thinking about anxiety is a thing that you do have control over. The mind is endlessly creating thought and ideas, right? And it is up to us to control those parts of us. Like, it's up to us to guide and shepherd our mind so that we are having, like, anxiety is not necessarily a bad thing. It tells us when things are going wrong, but it also tells us what we need to pay attention to. Like, oh, I have a lot of anxiety about this bill. Is it because I need to earn more money? Or is it because I'm just anxious about being an adult and paying a bill? Like, there's a lot of kinds of anxiety, but it's up to us to shepherd and guide those thoughts, because it is endlessly potential. It has endless potential to take you down a road you don't want to go down. So it's up to us to control the narrative, to control the story that we're telling ourselves. The world is also about completed stories. So it's up to us to monitor what story we're telling ourselves. What story are you telling yourself about that bill? Are you telling yourself, this is a great opportunity for me to grow as a person and make sure that I can take care of myself? Or are you telling yourself, this is a burden that I don't want to deal with? You know, like, we are responsible for the stories that we tell ourselves in our minds. Now, if you're in the middle of, like, let's say clinical depression or a clinical anxiety episode, or like a panic attack, like, this is not advice for you. Like, sometimes we do not have control over what our minds are telling us. This is when we need to seek professional help, because we need something outside of ourselves to help control the story we are telling ourselves. Depression is a real thing that tells you lies every second of the day. Real, horrible, awful lies that feel real to you because they are in your mind. And sometimes we don't have control over that. So that message of we have control is not for you if you are suffering with those things. The message is, though, that you can get help for it to begin to have some control over your own mind, over the endless possibilities that your mind is throwing at you. This giant hill of thoughts that is consuming you can be controlled if you reach out for help. You need something outside of yourself to complete your story, to help bring you back into control. Whether that's medication or a psychiatrist or a therapist or whatever, a stay in a mental institution for a minute, like, there is no shame in that. Sometimes we need to be somewhere else than where we are to get help and control back into our lives. Remember, there's no shame in that. That is just a thing that, you know, sometimes we need it. And the ultimate, like, moment of self-love is you recognizing that and going and getting help for it. And it is the hardest part. It is the hardest part of any mental health journey, is actually going and getting the help. Okay, sorry, my camera cut me off there, but that is the hardest part, is actually going and getting the help. Once you do that, once you have the help, it's so much easier to gain control of those thoughts and things. And I know that from experience. It is the greatest act of self-love to admit you need help and find it for yourself. That is the biggest act of self-love anybody can do for themselves. I swear, it is. It is the ultimate act of self-love, to admit you need help and get it for yourself. But this message of anxiety as a condition of life, it's always going to be there. There's always the potential for it to exist. But we also have the potential to tell ourselves a different story when anxiety comes our way. So that is the message here. I'm now going to move on. This next pile is about the awareness of death and non-being. So we're gonna take a little dive into this topic. I know this might be a little scary one for some people, but it's a good one. So we have the 6 of Trees, and we also have the 6 of Swords. Ooh, also super interesting. Okay, you guys. So I think this message for you guys specifically is not about death. It's more about non-being. It's about the removal of things that need to be removed from your life, from your being, from yourself. Because the 6 of Swords is about journeying from one place to another. It is taking the journey from rocky, terrible shores to a brighter shore. I think this is an extension of this message of of controlling and telling ourselves a different story than the anxiety or depression is telling us. This is taking your fate into your own hands and steering your boat in a new direction, in a new way of being. You are leaving behind old things and only bringing the things that matter, that are important to you, that will grow you as a person. And the Six of Trees is the Six of Pentacles, which is all about generosity. It's about generosity of spirit. It's about giving, just giving. So I think this message is really about the idea of being generous with yourself, to give yourself new paths, to leave behind things that have no place of being in your world anymore, to let things die that need to die for you to move forward. The storm has to end for the sunshine to come out. You have to die to a version of self, like the phoenix. You have to die to a version of yourself to rise again as the phoenix. To be generous in this new version of yourself. To do that ultimate act of self-love. To die to the old, to bring in the new. This whole message has really been a message of knowing yourself to become even greater version of yourself. Yeah. The idea of death and the idea, like contemplating on the idea of death, should, instead of steering you down a darker path, think of it more as death comes for everyone. So do I want to live the remainder of my life in a storm? Or do I want to be generous and give myself the opportunity to head to brighter, sunnier shores? Because I deserve that. Like, I deserve to live I deserve to live my life on bright, sunny shores and not in a storm. Because we only have a limited amount of time, and I don't want to waste my time in the storm. Some storms are good, they help us develop, but if you're just sitting in conflict to sit in conflict, what kind of life are you living? What value have you given yourself? Yeah, that's a tough message, but a good one. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do for you guys is I have the Kuan-Yin, I've been pronouncing it wrong all day, Kuan-Yin Oracle deck, and we're just going to pull one card from this to give us a sum up of what your guides have been trying to tell you for this reading. Okay? All right. Guides of group number 4, could you give us one parting piece of advice for group number 3 on this crazy journey they have of realigning their idea of self and becoming empowered in themselves and learning to choose good over conflict? Learning to choose patience and temperance over conflict. Learning to be generous with themselves and others. One message, please. Sometimes these cards want to jump and sometimes they just don't. Oh, that was too many, you guys. They were like, yeah, we'll show you jumping. Guys, one card. This one? Okay. All right. So we have spin the silken thread divine. And this is the image. Come on, focus. Here you go. Spin the silken thread divine. I'm going to read it to you real quick. Ready? In creating precious silks, there is a sorting process of sifting out that which is broken to find that which is precious and pure. You are commencing a new cycle, and it is time to release that which does not align with your true heart. Choose to release all vows, agreements, and connections that no longer serve your highest good. Yeah, that's exactly what that last contemplation on death was talking about. And look, she has the moon behind her. The moon talks all about trusting your intuition. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for coming to this reading. I hope this contemplation on the pillars of existential humanism helped in some way. Thank you to your guides for being here and helping me out. And if you liked this kind of new spread that I'm doing where I'm contemplating big ideas instead of asking specific questions, please comment down in the comments to let me know you liked it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you have a blessed everything. And this was Pan. Bye, you guys. Hi, group number 4s. Welcome to your reading on existential humanism. These topics are really big. Basically, so the person who came up with these pillars is Victor Frankl. He was a Holocaust survivor. So he really thought about how humans make meaning even in suffering. And yeah, but these 6 ideas that we're going to talk about today are his pillars of what makes us human. What are the things that distinguish humans from animals? So that's what we're talking about today. This is the card that drew you guys in. We're just going to have our guides tell us things in these particular areas that they would like us to think about or focus on, just to bring our attention to. Cool? So here we go. So the cards that I'm using today, this deck is the Cosmovisions Oracle, this green one. It's an oracle deck because the major arcana in it have slightly different meanings than the regular tarot, but it's a tarot deck because it still has all the pip cards and all the things. So it's just got slightly different meanings. And this other deck, the one underneath, this one, is the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck. So, and then at the end of the reading, I'm going to pull an oracle card from my Kunyin oracle deck, which has a bunch of really beautiful advice and messages for you at the end. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to read you the 6 tenets, pillars, and then we're going to start talking about them. Okay, guys? Ready, group number 4? You have this lovely green card, which I really like. Oh, it also has, so it has in this image that you picked, there's this little sword down here, but there's also, I don't know if you can see it, there's a tiny little heart carved into the tree that I just noticed, and it's super cute. Okay, I just had to show you guys that. Okay, so the 6 piles here are, first we have the capacity for self-awareness, the tension between freedoms and responsibilities, striving for identity and relationships with others, the search for meaning and purpose, anxiety as a condition of life, and the awareness of death and non-being. So, these are some really big ideas. Don't get scared. We'll be okay. We have your guides with us. It's gonna be great. All right, ready, you guys? Here we go. So this first pile is about the capacity for self-awareness. And the cards you have are the 10 of Birds, which is the 10 of Swords. And we also have the 7 of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles. Cool. Cool. So, the Ten of Birds is the Death card of the Pip cards. It's about completely dying to something. And the Seven of Pentacles is the card of waiting for the harvest, of I've planted seeds and now I'm waiting and preparing for when these seeds will blossom, when my harvest will become fruitful. So, as a message of self-awareness, the capacity for self-awareness. I think there's a message here of there are parts of ourselves that are still growing, that we need to be aware of, that we still need work on. And I think there's another message here of there are parts that there are things within us that have no place in ourselves anymore, that we need to die to, that need a complete rebirth, that our old ways of seeing ourselves, of thinking about ourselves, that no longer serve any purpose. Maybe these are coping mechanisms that you clung to or created while you were in a state of trauma or while you were in a dangerous place for yourself to be. Humans create a lot of coping mechanisms to get through hard times. These coping mechanisms can be anything from like binge eating to cutting to, it could be things like, I always apologize for everything that I do just in case something offended somebody, because at one point you were with an unstable person that everything you did was seen as wrong. So there are lots of coping mechanisms that we create for ourselves that help us in the moment that we are in. And once we move past that moment, we still maintain those coping mechanisms because they're now a part of how we interact with the world. But sometimes they are unhelpful for us, or they are harmful to us now. This is a very common thing in therapy and psychology and psychiatry. That like people who have gone through trauma end up with these coping mechanisms that could really harm them now that they are in a state of not being traumatized or in a safer place for themselves. Such things as even like not being able to trust anyone. When you're in an unsafe situation in your life, like, of course it is a perfectly reasonable thing for you not to trust anyone because you are in an unsafe place, right? But as we move out of this unsafe place, as we start to grow the seeds of a new life that we are creating for ourselves, we need to learn and allow ourselves to trust again, because that's how we move into this new space that we are in. It's how we move forward in life and how we recover from the things that have been done to us. This is a really deep topic of self-awareness that I'm only slightly knowledgeable about. Like, I'm not a therapist, I am not a psychiatrist, so this is a deeper topic that you really need to explore with somebody who has professional understanding of these things, to be able to look at how you interact with the world and see the things that perhaps are leftover pieces of yourself from when you were in danger, from when you were in a place that was not healthy. And to see and recognize those things and weed them out of your garden, because we're creating this whole new garden for our lives right now. And to become self-aware of the weeds so that you're able to pluck them, so that your fruit can grow more abundantly, so that your life can become more full of joy and full of things that you want there, instead of things that are just remnants of something you lived through. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So yes, that is a very heavy message for our ability to become self-aware, but it's a journey that is best done with a professional, and it's a tough journey, but it's very worth it. It's very worth it. I know from experience, it's very worth it. It's a journey, but I believe you guys can do it. You guys are this farmer who is patient and ready and has planted the seeds of things better for yourself already. Like, you've already done that hard work of finding help, of planting seeds, and this is just another part of that process. So that's the message there, I think. So now I'm going to move on to pile number 2. This is the tension between freedom and responsibilities. So in this pile, we have the card, the Veil, which in this deck is the Star card. And then we also have the Star card. Oh my God. That's crazy. You got the same card from 2 different decks in the same position. Now that's nutty. Wow. 2 Star cards. So, wow. This is, as you're moving forward in this new path that you have cultivated for yourself, I'm seeing a crazy amount of hope. A crazy amount of just absolute joy and hope. Like, the new responsibilities that you're going to be taking on for yourself are not going to feel like responsibilities. They're going to feel like a new and exciting path that, like, you made for yourself. Like, yes, they're responsibilities, but they feel like freedom. They feel like I'm finally able to do what I knew I was always capable of, and I'm able to shine my light in ways in every aspect of my life, so that I feel free even when I'm doing the things that are good and responsible for me to do. It's when therapy turns from, ugh, I have to do this thing, to I'm so excited to tell my therapist about this thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's the development of a relationship with yourself that makes everything in your life feel better, because you have a great relationship with yourself. In the Veil card, it's all about how sometimes hope is unseen. Sometimes hope sneaks up on you. Sometimes it just, all of a sudden, you realize you're not terrified of life anymore. And the Star card in this deck talks all about being a bright, beautiful light, that you're emanating this hope and beauty because you've been through all of this stuff. Like, the Star is near the end of the Fool's journey. So the Star has already been through their tower moment. They've already come out the other side. Now they're on the other side looking at themselves being like, wow, bitch, you made it. Like, wow, holy fuck. We walked through this tower and we're okay. We're alive and we're growing and we're shining, and everything in our life is starting to feel like hope. Like, there is hope. Like, things are getting better. It's not going to be all better at once, but it's slowly going to enable you to have a better relationship with yourself. This marriage of freedom and responsibilities is no longer going to feel like a task. It's going to feel like not a vacation, but like it's no longer going to feel like a monotonous task, and it's more going to feel like self-care almost. Aw, that's so sweet. Okay, so this next group is about striving for identity and relationships with others. And you have here the Seven of Trees, which is the Seven of Pentacles again. And then we also have the Seven of Swords. If you can see that, it's a little bright. There you go. Seven of Swords. So interesting. So what I'm seeing here is somebody who, all right, so the Seven of Swords is about betrayal. It's about trying to sneak away from war. It's the card of abandoning your comrades. It's sneaking away with a pile of swords. It's stealing, basically. And the Seven of Trees is kind of the opposite of that. It's the Seven of Pentacles energy. It's being patient and waiting and sticking it out and very determined to see it through. This is the energy of running away. This is the energy of seeing it through. So what I think your guides are trying to tell you is that you're going in this journey of rediscovering yourself, of clearing out the old, like of being able to release trauma and trauma responses that are holding you back. It's going to feel very like you want to run away. That's what it's going to feel like, because that's like these methods of keeping ourselves safe are things that we have done maybe all of our lives. Like this feels like a huge part of you that you don't want to let go. So you will feel like wanting to gather up your swords and run away from this process. That's what this striving for identity is going to feel like. It's going to feel like, I want to stop. I want to run away. I don't want to face this. But your guides are saying, but you can and you need to. Like this energy of sticking it out, of not abandoning this journey that you're on, not giving up just when you're making headway, is what they're trying to tell you. They're trying to tell you, like, you have already planted the seeds. You just have to hold on. There is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, as cheesy as that is. Like, don't run away now. It's gonna feel hard, but don't run away now. You've already done the harder part of planting the seeds. You've already done that. All you have to do now is wait. All you have to do now is continue down the path you're already walking. You're already walking this path. You don't give up and run away. Your bright light is here. You're on the precipice. And even though it's hard to die to these things, it's really hard to die to these things. The rebirth that is coming for you is going to be a huge harvest. That's what all these pentacles in the bush are. They're just buds waiting to just bless you with all of these things that are going to be so good for you in the future. But if you run away with these swords, if you take all the buds now and run away, those buds will never bloom because you didn't give them time. You didn't give them the patience, the temperance needed to bloom, to become what they really are, to bless you. Instead, you panicked and ran. Don't panic. Don't panic. You got this. Don't panic. This journey to strive for identity, you might feel like, if I don't hold on to these things, I no longer have an identity. But that's not true, because you have other pieces of your identity just waiting to blossom. They just have never had the chance because they were put down upon by all of this trauma, by all of this, whatever it is that kept you down, that gave you these coping mechanisms, whatever it was that gave you all of these swords. They cut down the plant that you were. But now that you're re-blossoming, regrowing all of those parts of you, like, they're just about ready to bloom into something that you will see and be like, oh, that is me. That is me. These swords aren't me. These are just a thing that I needed to cut my way out of the weeds. But this flower that's about to bloom, this is me. Aw. Don't give up. Don't panic. You guys got this. I'm really proud of you guys. This is a really hard journey you're on, and you're doing it. You're the star. You are a star, baby. So let's move on to the next pile. This one is the search for meaning and purpose. Wow, what a big topic. So this is the search for meaning and purpose. We have the 6 of Trees, and we also have the World card. Ooh. I just got this card in the last reading. So, oh, also you guys, I got the Veil card in pile number 2 in this exact same position. So if you felt drawn to pile number 2, maybe there's a message in there for you too. Cool. Anyway, so we have here in the search for meaning and purpose, we have the 6 of Trees, which is the card of generosity. It is the card of giving to the poor, of loving others, just a generous spirit. And then we also have the World card, which is all about stories. It's also about completion of energy. It's about the completion of cycles, like a perfect cycle, like the world has turned around one whole time and now it's complete. So now it's going to do it again. It's the cycle of life. It's the circle of life. Sorry. Sorry. I couldn't resist. Hold on. I got to cover up her boobies. There we go. Sorry, that was super dumb. But yeah, it's the circle of life. So the the search for meaning and purpose is a cycle. It is a cyclic, the circle of life. It's constantly moving. It's constantly changing. It's constantly completing. Like your purpose today might be a different one tomorrow. And like, that's kind of how it works when you're going through a journey of mental health and recovering from trauma and things like that. Like, it is a cycle, and it has a lot of ups and downs. Like your purpose today might be, I need a nap. And your purpose tomorrow might be, I'm going to change the world with this great, I don't know, this great story that I'm writing. You know, it's going to have a lot of ups and downs, but it's a cycle. It'll always come back around. And generous, in your quest for meaning and purpose, there needs to be an energy of generosity to self, because like, your meaning and purpose doesn't have to do with anything outside of yourself. Like, your meaning and purpose could be, you're alive today. And that's beautiful. Like, if your purpose is only just to exist here on this planet, that's enough. You are the world because you exist here. You are a world unto yourself, and that is enough reason. That is enough meaning. That is enough purpose. It might not feel that way all the time, but if you're generous with yourself and begin to build your own self-worth, if you begin to build your own self-worth so that you feel like every bit of you is part of a complete story, a part of a complete human being, even these trauma things that you're trying to get over, like, those things happened so that you could become a more complete person. If you start to look at it in more of that vein, if you see yourself as a perfect creation, I think you're going to find purpose showered upon you. It'll be generous in its story for you. The cycle of your life is going to feel abundant because you have been led somewhere. Yeah. I really don't have any more to say on that. So, yeah, I think your purpose is your story. And that's enough. Your purpose is your story, and that's enough. Your story might mean a lot to other people too. That might be a thing for you to think about, to contemplate, that your story might make a difference to other people. So don't be afraid to tell your story. Okay, the next little pile we have here, this is a contemplation on anxiety as a condition of life. Because we all have anxiety to different degrees. Some of us need help with it, and some of us just power through. So, you have the Maze card. In this deck, it is Temperance. At least that's the mirror card. The meaning is a little bit different. And then we also have the Strength card. You guys. Oh my gosh. You also got like all of the cards with boobies. But the Strength card. Let's put... She's only got a little boobie. We'll put a little shell right there. Anxiety is a condition of life. Well, let's just start with this Maze card. The Maze card is about a labyrinth, basically. That life doesn't always turn out exactly how you planned it, that there are lots of twists and turns, and the reality of your life versus how you expected your life to go versus the fantasy of your life can look very, very different. And the skill in this anxiety-inducing idea of life is not going to look like how you plan it, the skill is, instead of looking at it as nothing turned out how I wanted it, it's that, hey, I made it through this maze. It doesn't look like how I expected it to look, but I made it through, and I am amazingly strong for being able to make it through this labyrinth. I made it through, and I'm the shit because of it. And I think with the Strength card, they're also telling you, you have the strength to do this journey. You have the power. You are so strong. Like, these coping mechanisms that you created for yourself to continue through life, even when it was super tough, like, those coping mechanisms got you through. You survived. You made it. You're still alive. Like, that strength is indescribable. Your ability to move through life and get to the other side of these really hard things that you've been through, and to still have hope, to still be a star, to still be a shining light, that is a level of strength that is a woman petting a lion and the lion sitting at her feet, subservient to her. That is quiet, beautiful, amazing strength that not everybody has. Some people in your position would buckle and fall, but you haven't fallen. You've made it through the maze. Your anxiety as a condition of life, yeah, it's been there. It's been a part of your life, no doubt about it. But you are so strong. You have made it out. Maybe you're still in the maze. Maybe you're starting to make it out. Maybe you're just starting to make it out, but you have the strength. And your guides here with this infinity symbol at the top of this card, like they're saying they will give you all of the strength you need to make it out. So you'll have all the strength you need to get out. You're gonna make it. There's anxiety, but you're a strong, amazing person. You will find the path. All right. So the last pile that we're contemplating is the awareness of death and non-being. We've been talking about death a lot in this reading, but let's see what our guides have to say about it. Ooh, we have the shapeshifter. This is the Knight of Wands in this deck. We'll talk about him in a minute. And then we also have the Four of Swords. We have the Four of Swords. Cool. Interesting. So, contemplation of death and non-being. So the Four of Swords is a card about rest. It's a card about self-care and rest. And putting aside the swords and just existing. And the shapeshifter in this deck, which is the Knight of Wands, is all about being able to roll with the punches. It's about being a loved part of a community that is able to be a lot of things for a lot of people. They're the person that wears a lot of hats. They do a lot of stuff for everybody. And they change how they are a little bit with everybody, but not in like a fake kind of way, more of like you need this now, so I'm going to give you that. This is actually like a trait that a lot of trauma survivors tend to have, because they've at least people who have been like in abusive relationships, because they're constantly trying to be whatever that person wants them to be in this specific moment. So their ability to shift with how people's attitudes in the room is way more developed than like a normal person who has not been through something like that, who has not had an unreliable person in their life. So these two cards in the position of death, I'm seeing that like this isn't talking about physical death. This is talking about that same thing that we started our reading with, of death to parts of ourselves so that we can become more. It's your guides telling you it's time to put down the swords. It's time to put down the swords. It's time to rest. It's time to put down the swords. You have gotten through the hard part already. It's time to shine. It's time to let yourself be loved, because the Knight of Wands is a very loved individual. It's time to let yourself be loved. It's time to open the gates of self-love and, sorry, my cat just sneezed. It's time to open the gates of self-love and allow yourself to put down the sword, put down your barriers, allow the people who the universe is going to give to you in. Allow yourself to trust again. Allow yourself to be yourself. The shapeshifter is this beautiful energy of being able to be anything anybody wants them to be. But in this position of thinking about death and non-being, I think it's the card of you haven't been yourself for decades, forever. It's time to shed all these masks. It's time to shed all these coping mechanisms, all these things that kept you so safe. It's time we got you. It's time to be able to let those things down, let those things break free so that you can be you. You can be the star. You can be who you were meant to be now. Yeah, you've been in a state of non-being for a very long time. And now it's time for you to be in a state of being. Aw, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, guides of pile number 4. All right, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle this Kenyan Oracle deck, and we're just going to get one parting message from your guides. Just one beautiful message to sum up everything we talked about today. And yeah. So guides of pile number 4, could you please give me one last message about pile number 4 and this big journey of self-trust, of being able to trust self again, of creating a beautiful life for themselves, being patient with themselves, being generous with themselves, and trusting that you will give them the strength to get through the rest of this journey, that there's hope at the end of the tunnel. One message, is it that one? I don't think it's that one. One more message, please. One more, that's too many. Too many cards. Too many again. Your guys are just like, no, all the messages. I just want to give all the messages, please. All the messages, they say. All the messages. Oh, that's still too many. Although that's 2. All right, we'll do 2. We can do 2 for pile number 4. All right. Let's see. What cards did we get? We got Spring Mother Magu, which is this one. Spring Mother Magu. And then this one is Enter the Jade Temple. Ooh, they're both very pretty. So I'm going to read you Spring Mother Magu first. It's this one. Magu, goddess of spring, healing and transformation, brings you blessings now. You are asked to remember that light can come from even the darkest beginnings, that spring only ever comes after winter. The challenge can be to trust that winter will end. Exploring the unknown parts of yourself will result in self-discovery and healing rebirth for you. Wow, this card was like made for you guys. Oh my God. And the other card is Enter the Jade Temple, which is this one. It says, Kun Yin in her temple of peaceful jade causes all conflict to elevate to higher peaceful resolution. A resolution and healing of any situation that is concerning you is already underway. You are being asked to begin to feel the relief of that solution now, so that you can more readily melt into the divine solution and blessings of peace from the beloved Kuan. Aww. Wow, those are really great for you guys. Well, this is all I'm seeing for you guys, group number 4. Thank you so much for being here today and for watching the reading. And please like, comment, subscribe. If you liked this newish style of reading that I'm doing, where I like contemplate big concepts instead of asking specific questions, please let me know down in the comments so I can do more of them. And I hope you guys have a blessed everything. And this has been Pan. Bye, you guys.